Hello? Thank you for taking time for yourself again and joining me here. Today, let's explore together where our strength might be hiding. Have you noticed how sometimes, climbing stairs, your breath suddenly catches? Or how by evening your legs feel heavy and your favorite shoes seem tight? Maybe you catch yourself thinking, well, the years are taking their toll. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? We often chalk up fatigue, shortness of breath, mild dizziness to age. But what if I told you that sometimes, behind these familiar sensations, quiet signals from our heart are hiding? Our faithful engine, which has tirelessly pumped blood for decades, and now, perhaps, needs a little more attention. You see, over the years, blood vessels can lose elasticity, narrow in places, and it becomes harder for the heart to do its job. It doesn't scream for help, but whispers. And today we'll talk about 6 such quiet whispers, signs of possible heart problems that are so easy to mistake for normal age-related changes. Pay special attention to the 4th sign. It's the easiest one to miss. Learning about these signals won't make you more anxious. No, you will become wiser and stronger because knowledge is power. The power to notice in time, consult a doctor, and prevent serious problems, preserving vitality and joy of life for many years to come. I promise, no complex medical terms, just clear explanations and real-life stories. So make yourselves comfortable, pour a cup of fragrant tea, and let's listen together to what our heart is trying to tell us. Believe me, this knowledge is one of the best gifts you can give yourself. Stay with me until the end. This is really important. The first quiet signal, unusual, profound fatigue. This isn't about the pleasant tiredness after a day spent with grandchildren or working in the garden, but about that, overwhelming weakness that comes on suddenly, for no apparent reason, and doesn't go away even after rest. It's like your battery has been removed. I remember the story of Margaret. She was 72, and she adored her roses. Every morning she went out into the garden. It was her ritual, her meditation. But then she started noticing that after just 15 to 20 minutes of working with her flowers, she felt completely drained. Not just tired, but utterly depleted. She would have to go inside and lie down. Sometimes she even fell asleep during the day, which almost never happened to her before. "I'm getting old," she sighed, talking to her friend on the phone. "I don't even have the energy for roses anymore." She felt annoyed, even a sense of betrayal by her own body, which no longer allowed her to enjoy her favorite pastime. She brushed off her daughter's concerns. "Everything's fine, I just need more rest." But one day, her daughter found her asleep in her chair, right in the middle of a conversation, and insisted on a doctor's visit. It turned out that this unexplained fatigue was due to Margaret's heart working erratically and being unable to pump blood effectively. Imagine an old well pump. It hums, it tries, but it delivers less and less water. It's the same with the heart. When it can't cope, our muscles and brain receive less oxygen and nutrients. Hence this feeling of deep, causeless exhaustion. It's not laziness or old age itself. It's the body's cry for help, a request to check the main pump. After an examination, Margaret was prescribed supportive medication. It wasn't anything scary or complicated, just a small adjustment. And a couple of weeks later, she called her daughter, absolutely beaming. "Can you imagine? I spent 2 hours in the garden today and I feel great. Just a little tired like I used to." She could enjoy her roses, her life again. So, if you feel your energy draining for no apparent reason, if fatigue has become your constant companion, don't brush it off. Perhaps it's just a signal that your heart needs a little support. Listen to yourself. It's the first step to preserving your energy. Shortness of breath with minor exertion or when lying down. Does it sound familiar when you've just walked from the living room to the kitchen or climbed one flight of stairs and you're breathing as if you've run a marathon? Or perhaps you've noticed that it's become more comfortable to sleep on high pillows because lying flat makes you feel short of air. Take Arthur. He was 68, always proud of his activity level. He loved walking his dog, Rex, a loyal old Labrador. They used to walk briskly through the park, but then Arthur started noticing he needed to stop more often to catch his breath. Even a small hill became a challenge. He attributed it to "my lungs aren't what they used to be," or "I need to lose a couple of pounds." And at night, he started adding a second, sometimes even a third pillow under his head. Lying flat, he found it hard to breathe, experiencing an unpleasant tightness in his chest. He didn't tell anyone, feeling a bit embarrassed by his weakness. Men don't complain, he thought. One night, he woke up with an acute feeling of air hunger, feeling like he was suffocating. His wife called an ambulance. At the hospital, it was discovered that the shortness of breath was because his heart wasn't coping with pumping blood, and fluid had started to back up in his lungs. Imagine a river, bloodstream, where a blockage has formed, the heart pumping poorly. The water level rises and overflows the banks, flooding the surrounding area, the lungs. When you lie down, it's even harder for the heart to work against gravity, and the flooding increases. That's why you feel the urge to sit up or prop yourself up with pillows. Gravity helps a bit then. Arthur was diagnosed with heart failure. It sounds frightening, but actually, with timely diagnosis and proper treatment, one can live a long and quite comfortable life with it. He was put on therapy and taught how to monitor his condition. Yes, he couldn't walk Rex quite as briskly as before, but he learned to pace himself, take breaks, and continued to enjoy their walks at a more relaxed pace. Most importantly, he stopped gasping for air at night and felt much more confident. Therefore, if you notice it's harder to breathe during usual activities, or if you find yourself sleeping almost sitting up, please don't ignore it. It's not necessarily asthma or lung problems. Sometimes it's the voice of your heart asking to check if everything is okay with the river flow in your body. A simple checkup can save you from significant discomfort and anxiety. Swelling of the legs, ankles, feet, edema. Have you noticed by evening that your favorite shoes feel tight, or that the elastic from your socks leaves marks on your legs, or that your ankles look a bit puffy, especially after sitting for a long time or in hot weather? Swelling. It's common, we think. Probably ate too much salt or drank too much water. Eleanor, 75, faced exactly this. She was an elegant woman who always loved beautiful shoes. But lately, her delicate shoes turned into instruments of torture by evening. Her ankles swelled, becoming firm. If she pressed a finger into them, a pit remained that slowly filled back in. Eleanor blamed the heat, long hours spent knitting, and the salty pickles she loved so much. She tried drinking less fluid, elevating her legs, but the swelling didn't go away, sometimes even moving up her calves. She felt awkward, embarrassed by her legs, which she privately called her elephant legs. Her granddaughter, a medical student visiting her, noticed the swelling and gently but firmly advised her grandmother to see a cardiologist. Eleanor initially brushed it off. "Oh, darling, it's just age." But her granddaughter was persuasive, and rightly so. It turned out the swelling was because Eleanor's heart wasn't working efficiently enough. When the heart pumps blood more weakly, circulation slows down, especially in the lower extremities, where it's harder for blood to return upward. Fluid starts to leak from the blood vessels into the surrounding tissues. That's how swelling occurs. It's like a garden watering system with a weak pump. Water doesn't circulate properly and starts pooling at the lowest points. Additionally, with heart failure, the kidneys might retain more salt and water, which also worsens swelling. After an examination, Eleanor was prescribed treatment to help her heart work better, as well as diuretics to remove excess fluid. The swelling gradually subsided. What a relief that was! She could wear her favorite shoes again without discomfort or embarrassment. But most importantly, she realized her body had been sending her an important signal, and she reacted to it in time. So, if you regularly notice swelling in your legs, especially if it doesn't go away after a night's rest or is accompanied by other symptoms we're discussing, don't attribute it solely to heat or salt. Consult your doctor. Sometimes a simple examination and conversation can help identify the cause and restore lightness to your legs and comfort and confidence to you. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or even fainting spells. Here it is, the one that's especially easy to miss. Has it ever happened that when you stand up quickly from bed or a chair, your vision suddenly dims and the world swims for a moment? Or have you felt a sudden weakness, faintness, as if you were about to fall? Or maybe there was even a brief episode where you lost consciousness for a second, but quickly came to and thought, probably didn't eat on time or just overtired. This is that tricky sign that many people ignore. George, 70, an active retiree, loved tinkering in his garage. He had noticed mild dizziness a few times when standing up quickly. Old age isn't fun, vessels aren't what they used to be, he'd joke. One day, reaching for a tool on a high shelf, he suddenly felt a sharp weakness. His vision went dark, and he momentarily lost his balance, nearly falling. It passed so quickly that he didn't even think much of it. Probably my blood pressure spiked, or I just turned awkwardly, he decided, and went back to work. He easily found an explanation and quickly forgot about it. That's why this symptom is so easy to miss. It's often brief and easily explained away by other causes. But later, during a calm walk in the park, George suddenly felt severe dizziness. The ground seemed to drop out from under him, and he had to quickly sit down on a bench. His heart was pounding in his throat. His neighbor, walking nearby, got scared and insisted George go to the doctor immediately. George resisted, but his neighbor was adamant. The examination revealed that the cause of the dizziness and the brief fainting episode was arrhythmia, an irregular heartbeat. George's heart was either beating too fast or skipping beats. Because of this, his brain wasn't getting enough oxygen at the right moments, which caused the dizziness and near-fainting sensation. Imagine an electric bulb flickering due to unstable voltage. That's how the brain reacts to interruptions in its power supply, the blood flow. This could also be caused by other issues, like blockages in the vessels supplying the brain, or problems with blood pressure regulation, also linked to heart function. George had a pacemaker installed, a small device that helps the heart maintain a proper rhythm. It was a straightforward procedure, but it fundamentally changed his life. The dizziness stopped, and he no longer feared falling at any moment. He could safely work in his garage and go for walks without worrying about sudden weakness. Therefore, please pay close attention to dizziness, near-fainting spells, or fainting, even if they were brief and seemed to have an explanation. Don't brush them off. This could be a signal that your brain isn't getting enough blood due to heart problems. This is the very sign that many people miss, attributing it to fatigue, hunger, or age. Don't be one of them. Be sure to tell your doctor about these episodes. It's better to be cautious than to miss an important signal. Pain or discomfort in the jaw, neck, or back. When our back hurts, we think, probably caught a draft or turned the wrong way. If the jaw aches, maybe a wisdom tooth or slept funny, it rarely occurs to anyone to link these sensations to the heart, but we should, especially women. Barbara, 65, was energetic, always on the move. But in recent months, she started being bothered by a nagging pain in her lower jaw and upper back, between her shoulder blades. The pain wasn't severe, but persistent. She thought it was from sitting at the computer too much, helping her children with their work. She tried ointments, painkillers. They provided temporary relief. Sometimes the pain intensified when she was worried or walking quickly. Must be osteochondrosis, she decided, and booked a massage. One day, during a stressful phone call, she felt the pain in her jaw and back intensify, accompanied by a slight feeling of pressure in her chest. Then she remembered an article she had read once about how heart attacks in women often manifest atypically, precisely with pain in the jaw, neck, or back. This alerted her. She canceled the massage and went to a cardiologist. And it was the right decision. It turned out these pains were so-called referred pains from the heart. The nerve pathways from the heart and from the jaw, neck, and back run close together, and the brain sometimes confuses the source of the signal. It's like crossed telephone lines. The call is intended for one subscriber, the heart, but another answers, the jaw or back. Barbara was diagnosed with ischemic heart disease, narrowing of the coronary arteries. Because she sought help in time, she received the necessary treatment and prevented a possible heart attack. She learned to recognize her individual warning signs. So, if you develop unexplained pain or discomfort in your lower jaw, neck, shoulders, or upper back, especially if it occurs or worsens with physical exertion or stress and isn't related to an injury or obvious muscle problem, take it seriously. Don't rush to diagnose yourself with back problems. Tell your doctor about it and mention your concern about a possible connection to your heart. This could be that quiet whisper that's important to hear. Persistent heartburn, nausea, or stomach discomfort. Who among us hasn't experienced heartburn after a hearty meal or nausea from anxiety? These are common things, but sometimes what we mistake for digestive issues might actually be related to the heart. David, 77, loved good food. Lately, he had been plagued by heartburn, much more severe than he'd ever had before. Sometimes it was accompanied by mild nausea and a feeling of fullness in his stomach, even if he'd eaten very little. He tried every antacid from the pharmacy, tried to avoid fatty and spicy foods, but the discomfort kept returning. Probably my gastritis flared up, or my gallbladder is acting up, he thought with a sigh. He felt constantly uncomfortable, bloated. One day, he was mowing the lawn in front of his house, a usual activity for him. Suddenly, he felt not just heartburn, but intense burning behind his breastbone and sharp nausea. He stopped, sat down on the porch steps, and felt better after a few minutes. When he started the mower again, the symptoms returned. It was this clear link to physical exertion that alerted him. He realized this wasn't like ordinary indigestion. He went to the doctor, and tests showed the problem wasn't in his stomach, but in his heart. The lower part of the heart is located close to the digestive organs, and the nerves there also run nearby. Heart problems, especially those related to insufficient blood supply, ischemia, can cause symptoms very similar to heartburn, gastritis, or nausea. It's like a fire alarm going off in the apartment next door, the heart, but the smoke is coming into yours, the stomach. It's particularly suspicious if these digestive symptoms appear or worsen with physical activity and subside with rest. David underwent stenting. They widened a narrowed blood vessel, and miraculously, his terrible heartburn and nausea disappeared completely. He could once again enjoy food and work on his lawn without unpleasant sensations. So, if you're bothered by unusually severe or persistent heartburn, nausea, or upper abdominal discomfort, especially if it's linked to physical exertion or stress, and standard heartburn remedies don't help, don't dismiss it. It might be your heart trying to disguise itself as a stomach problem. Be sure to discuss this with your doctor, mentioning the possible heart connection. So, we've looked at these 6 quiet signals: unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, swelling, dizziness, especially that tricky 4th one, pain in the jaw, neck, or back, and persistent indigestion-like problems. As you can see, they often mask themselves as normal signs of aging or other, less serious ailments. You've lived a long, rich life, accumulated invaluable experience and wisdom. Your body is your faithful companion on this journey, and it deserves the most careful and attentive treatment. Listening to its signals now is not a sign of fear of aging, but an expression of self-respect and care for the future. You have every right to feel good, be energetic, and enjoy every day at any age. Don't ignore these quiet whispers from your body. Simply knowing these signs and having a timely conversation with your doctor can be the key to many more years of active and fulfilling life. It's not about looking for illnesses in yourself, but about practicing wise self-care based on attention and knowledge. You deserve to feel your best. Take care of your precious heart, listen carefully to your body, and trust your intuition. You absolutely possess the inner strength and wisdom to actively and consciously manage your health. Thank you for being with me today. Until next time, and be well.